To Grace, my future wife, Part 12. The movie continues. An open letter. March 1st, 2024, 1:29 p.m. Dear Grace, I've been taking some of my frustrations out on Twitter. I found a few extras willing to engage. My basic argument, which I've struggled to express on Twitter, is that most of the DSM-5 conditions are 100% based on opinion and no physical evidence. There are no medical tests for psychological conditions, in most cases. Actually, probably not. If you're in an accident that causes brain damage and you begin to act funny, it's not a condition listed in the DSM, it's a physical condition. Same for tumors or in many cases severe pain. If a person is in pain and bitches and complains about their depression, does that depression leave with the pain? It does, which is why so many who are in severe pain are also addicted to one substance or the other to manage the pain and attempt to feel normal. I was tested for the top 20 conditions in DSM-5, Grace. Every single test was a questionnaire, or several in my cases. There's no consistency to the questionnaires. Movie idea continued. Movie idea untitled continued. Dave closes the pizza boxes, not wanting to stuff himself like he normally would. Unless you want more, Grace. Dave, wait, is your name Grace? I didn't ask you, did I? Grace, no, you didn't ask. And no, it's not Grace. Dave, it's Grace. Are you sure you want to know? Dave, why wouldn't I? Grace, for the story. Our story? Grace, yes. Give me a sec. Grace waits. Dave, do you prefer Grace or your real name? Grace, it makes no difference to me. Dave, is it in the letter? Grace, yes, last page. Dave, I'll look when I'm ready. Until then, I'm good with Grace if you are. Grace, I am. Dave, if we get married and I don't know your real name, is it a gimmick? Knowing I could have known it, but decided not to for the sake of the story? Grace, it doesn't matter, David. How about I block out my last name in the letter, then it's 50-50. Dave hands Grace the envelope. There's a pin in my hoodie pocket. Grace removes the letters and aggressively scribbles out her last name. She writes, I love you, David, under her name, and returns everything into the envelope. Grace, problem solved. Dave, what about our other problems, the next 7 days? Grace, we'll solve them one at a time. Dave, okay, are you real? Grace, do you want to touch more than my hand? Dave, no, not yet, sorry. Grace, we have all the time in the world. Grace, well, my parents are paying for 7 days, so in a sense. Dave, do you live with them? Grace, for the next 7 days or less, I live with you. Does anything else matter? Dave, no, just curious, but I guess it's in the letter. Grace smiling, it is. You catch on quick for a retard. Dave, thanks. Grace, what's next? I like solving problems. David/Dave. Dave, I don't have any clothes here. Grace, we can go to your place and pick what you need. Or we can go to the mall and buy a few things. Or you can give your keys to my parents and I'll retrieve your clothes and they'll retrieve your clothes from your place. Dave, of course you know where I live. Grace, ignoring Dave. Or there's probably a laundry machine in the hotel. Grace, or you can go nude/housecoat. Dave, I don't think so. Grace, not giving up. Some of my clothes might fit you. Dave finally smiles and looks completely at Grace, sitting one cushion away. Thongs? Grace, you need more than one? Dave and Grace laugh together for the first time. Dave, as much as I'd like to take you back to my house and show you off to my housemates, I'm not interested in trying to explain the handcuffs to any of them. Dave, nude sounds like fun, but I haven't manscaped in a year, and unless you have a Sasquatch fetish, I'll remain clothed. Dave, buying new clothes at the mall doesn't work. I only buy from the thrift store to save for money. Grace interrupts. And there, let's go there then. Dave, we still have the thong option. Any granny panties instead? Dave, just kidding. Their store is fun, but tomorrow, not today, okay? Grace, sounds good. Now what? Dave, are you antsy? Grace, a bit. Dave, you've been writing your half of the story, Grace? Grace, I have. Dave, more than the response letters meant? Grace, I have. Dave, do you write by hand or computer? Grace, computer, it's in my bag. Dave, do you want to write together for a while? Document what's gone on so far? Grace, well attached? Dave, of course, we have no choice. Sure, let's try. What are you going to do? Dave, I'll write by hand. Grace and Dave walk over to the bag. Dave grabs it and they return to the couch. Grace sets up her laptop and Dave grabs a notebook out of his backpack. They return to the couch. Grace, before we get comfortable, should we take a bathroom break? Dave, potty break? Like we're children, attached like this? Potty break? We're children attached like this. Grace, partners. Dave, fine. Sure, I can always pee. Dave and Grace sit on the couch. Dave's left hand rests on a pillow Grace placed there for him. The attachment doesn't slow Grace's typing. Dave notices and glances at the screen. He sees her words, he turns away. He'll wait till she's done. They wait for an hour before Dave's hand begins to ache. Dave, I'm done for a while. My hand hurts, but you're welcome to continue. Grace, I'm good. Hands sore from the break? Dave, not specifically. Just tired more than sore. Plus I know I have to transfer to the computer anyway. Grace, do you want to type? Dave, not now. Grace, you can use my laptop when ready. Dave, I have my phone too. Grace, your choice. Now what? Dave, suggestions? Grace, walk, movie, more food, booze, weed, sleep, sex. Grace? Dave, I think you started at the end. Grace, I said sleep. Dave, maybe we should record ourselves? Grace, why? Dave, nobody will believe this situation, although I'm thinking this would be a good reality show, if they streamed it out 24/7, uncensored. Well, except the sex. Blur that out. Grace, we can, but between us, David, I think we have a pretty good combined memory. Does it feel like a dream or reality? Do you feel high, drunk, or normal? David, normal but overwhelmed. Let's go back to your list. I propose a short walk to the park down the street, and a joint or two. Grace, we can do that. Do you have some weed? Dave smiles. Check my bag. All we'll need for the next week. Dave and Grace walk to the park, holding hands, the restraints tucked up into their jackets. Dave, we look funny. Grace, we have no choice. Unless you want to be a comedian. Looking funny is good. Does part of the work for you? Does part of the work that work for you? Dave, maybe we should come on stage with me. Grace, handcuffed? Dave, too hard to explain. No, the audience is fine. Grace, embarrassed to be with me? Dave, I take that back. Grace, I can't. Dave, I'm not embarrassed at all. I'm not bothering this situation. Grace, are you sure? Dave, sure enough to be sitting here smoking with you. Grace, does the weed affect you, David? Dave, not like it once did. Edibles probably would, but I don't have a need to explore the universe through drugs anymore. Grace, anymore? Dave, you've read everything on Star? Dave, you've read everything on Star Substack? Grace, yes. Dave, then you know I've tried pretty much every drug once, except cocaine and heroin. Well, I did try some expired morphine. It was nice, but probably not the same as a needle full of Down. Grace, Down is the street name? Dave, yes. Believe it or not, it sounds better to the addict to be on Down than on instead of heroin. Even the junkies don't like being called a junkie. Dave, at least the ones I met in rehab. Grace, bathroom time, suggestions? Dave, library or return to our room? Grace, let's not get caught going into a washroom together. If somebody calls security, we'll have to explain. Dave, normally I would say fuck security, but sure, let's head back. Grace, then what? Dave, are you ADHD? Grace, I thought you hated labels. Dave, I do, but how about this? Do you ever sit still? Or are you always moving? Grace, depends. Dave, watch a movie? Dave, or a bath together? Grace, nice try, I don't believe you. Dave, fine, movie or talk? Grace, both. Dave, please tell me you can watch a movie without talking. Grace, I can't. Is that a deal breaker? Dave, not when we get to Netflix. Not when we get to the Netflix and chill stage. Grace waits for David like she knows he's thinking of a solution. Dave, I think at this stage it makes no difference. Talk away. But talk about the movie. I can't manage two streams of thought at once. Grace reaches out to shake Dave's hand. Deal. Dave accepts. Deal. Dave and Grace stroll through the front lobby and wait by the elevator. The front desk clerk smiles at the people. Dave, what does she want? At the couple. Dave, what does she want? Grace, nothing. She probably thinks we're a cute couple. Dave, she probably thinks you're helping your grandpa to his room. Grace, Dad maybe, but Grandpa? Dave, wait until you see my gray hair. Grace, I see a few of them in your eyebrows right now. Want to take care of them? Dave, do you want to groom me? Grace, pluck you. Dave, excuse me? Dave, Grace, why are we not naked in bed right now? Grace, what's the rush? Dave, I've dreamed about getting you pregnant. Grace, me or fictional Grace? Dave, it's becoming the same thing the longer we are together. Grace, I understand, but I am me, not Grace. I'm similar to the person you write your heart out to, but I am me. Dave, I understand. I'm glad you know who you are and apparently what to do in our present predicament. Grace, I'm trying. Dave, I know. I can see it in your face and body. Grace, you're looking at my body now? Dave ignores the comment. He squeezes Grace's hand as they walk back. Dave and Grace return to the hotel. They decide watching in the bedroom is best. If one of them gets tired, they can fall asleep. Working together, they stock up anything they might need while watching and spread out in the bed on nightstands, everything within reach of at least one of them. Handcuffs force their side of the bed. After one last embarrassing urination session between them, they retire to bed. Dave, I'm okay with sleeping on top of the covers if you are. Dave, sorry, I mean after the movie. If we're tired, I'm okay with above the sheets. Grace, I get it. But if I go under the covers, so does your left arm. Dave, that's fine. Grace, visualize David. Grace, or Dave, how do you sleep? Back or slide? Back or side? Grace, both and stomach. My right hand will be all over the place, and your left hand will drag along if you understand what I'm saying. Dave, so I'll be touching something more than your hand. Grace, or we can both lie on our backs and hold hands. Dave, over the covers unless we get cold. Grace, we can turn up the heat. Dave, true, I don't have a thermostat in my room. Grace, did we agree? Dave, sure, on the back, hold hands, sleep as much as possible. Grace, if possible. Dave, agreed. Dave and Grace watch a movie. Grace restrains her comments. She knows the situation is a bigger shock for Dave than herself. The movie ends. Dave and Grace get up and head to the bathroom without talking. Then at least one will have to use it again. Dave, do you want to change your clothes for bed? Grace, no, I'm good. They turn off all the lights. The room is barely illuminated. They access the bed from the end and assume their position, lying on their backs, staring at the ceiling. Dave turns to his side facing Grace. Grace turns back toward Dave. Hi. Dave. Hi. Dave, this is insane. Grace, I agree. Dave, I'm not sure I can sleep, not with your face inches from mine. Grace, and Dave, end up confused, very confused. Grace, I'll wait. Dave, thank you. Eventually, Grace falls asleep. Dave manages to retrieve the letter from the nightstand without waking her and uses his cell phone to read the letter. He manages a few pages, begins to understand who Grace really is. He's tempted to look at the last page but waits. For now she's Grace. Nothing else matters. He shines a light to view the sleeping Grace. Her mouth is slightly open and she's drooling on her pillow. Dave knows that feeling. She's in deep sleep. Dave inserts earbuds, plays his music, falls half asleep for a few hours. Daylight wakes them both. End scene. On a side note, Grace, it's raining and now I'm going to get my feet wet all on the way home. I wore out a pair of runners in 3 months. I noticed the hole yesterday when it rained. I'll deal with it in a few days. I have winter boots until then. I own 2 pairs of shoes, Grace. How many are in your closet? What skeletons do you have in there besides shoes? I apologize for the stereotype, Grace. Unless it's true. No, I don't. It's your choice where you spend your money. February 5th, 2024, 11:35 a.m. Dear Grace, this is the third part of part 12. I've been fighting with people on Twitter. I'm sure a few of them were teenagers, but I'll take any fight I can find. I'm not a fist fighter, Grace. I grew up youngest in my family and was forced to use my words. I pick my words carefully, knowing they'd be torn apart letter by letter if I made a mistake. I still choose carefully, Grace, especially when talking to you. I hate labels and I'm slowly eliminating every single one of my words. They tend to pop out now, like having a built-in English teacher telling you not to use cliches because they are lazy. Lazy isn't a crime. What if you're overly efficient and from the viewpoint of the outside the world you look lazy? My viewpoint is I'm extremely efficient in the scale of life I am. In the scale of theirs, in the scale of my life I am. In the scale of theirs, probably not. I understand their use of the word lazy, but is it accurate? Do I care? I'll give you a glimpse into my life, Grace. Do I sound lazy or efficient to you? Or would you call me something else? Anything but a label, please. Thanks. I'm sick of these fucking voiceovers.